Hey, what's up guys? My name is Benson and this is Luna. She never really has a lot to say, but I've got a lot to say, and I'm excited to make this video because I have been on an adventure into the world of anime and manga and comic book tattoo art. Those of you who are new here, my name is Benson. I do a bunch of different creative stuff. I do photography. I like to do music production. I write music. Here, let me let Luna down. I do some poetry, and one of the main things that I've been working on actually is visual art. That led me down this path of wanting to become a tattoo artist. Most of what I've explored up until this point has been American traditional tattoo art, and I've always thought that maybe that was the direction that I wanted to go in, and I'm still definitely keeping that door open at this point. But I also want to open some other doors and find out what I can learn from other styles of art and share that experience with you on this channel. I made a video about a month ago where I tried to isolate some components of drawing that would be especially important for doing microrealism tattooing. In this video, I wanted to dip my toes into another style of artwork, so let me take you back to how this all started. When I was a kid, I was definitely interested in manga and anime, but I didn't really have access to it. I never saw Pokemon or Dragon Ball Z or anything Japanese as far as cartoons go. I did have an art book that was how to draw manga. Fast forward a few years, I had a couple of graphic novels, Spider-Man and X-Men. My favorite place in the world to go was the comic book store. My dad would take me to this great comic book store called the Silver Snail in Toronto, and what I was really interested in was actually action figures. I loved just looking at them as sculptures and just the details. The more detail that it had, the better. Fast forward a few more years, in middle school I had an art teacher who was not very supportive, and I had a music teacher who was very supportive, and I think that that really influenced me and made me want to kind of switch interests entirely from visual art to music, and that sent me on a trajectory up until a few years ago when I found my love of art again. So that's a little bit of a side note, but just never underestimate how much influence you can have on kids just by being a little bit dismissive of what they're really passionate about. So I just wanted to put that in there. The only art related thing that I did in high school was that there was actually a manga drawing club. I was in so many clubs this one year. I don't know what happened, but I was in the jazz band on bass, the concert band on trombone, the men's choir, the guitar club. I played cello in the string quartet, and I wanted to get involved in as many things as possible. They had this drawing club, this manga drawing club. It really wasn't structured, it wasn't very good, but I showed up because I was interested in that style of art. Then, jumping to a few years ago, when I started becoming interested in maybe becoming a tattoo artist, I was looking at how do I learn? And I found this great mentor who is taking me under his wing as a kind of casual apprenticeship, but I also wanted to supplement that learning with something a little bit more structured, and that's where I found this online course called 10 Masters, which I'm not affiliated with. It's not a sponsorship or anything like that, but I do have a lot of positive things to say about them. So I wanted to quickly kind of mention how that ties into all of this. 10 Masters, as far as I can tell, is a video production company / group of tattoo artists who have made these very high production tattoo instructional courses focused on specific styles of art. So the first one they released was a black and gray realism course with this guy called Corey Lopez. I took that course. As much as I learned some valuable stuff as far as just getting me to actually, buy a tattoo machine and try my hand at some very basic techniques, it didn't really resonate with me. I struggled to feel that I wanted to practice. Time went by. They released a few other courses. They released a black work course. I took some of that course, but at the same time, it still didn't really resonate with me. Then they released this course that really caught my eye, called the 3-round liner course. The artist is called Monlix. He specializes in anime tattoos. And if you're not sure what a 3-round liner is, it's a type of tattoo needle that has 3 needles grouped together, and it's generally used for very fine lines. The artist who teaches this course exclusively uses that needle. He slowly removed different needle sizes just to kind of simplify his process, and ended up finding that he could remove all of them except for one and still create some really beautiful tattoos. He's based out of Spain, and he is a fantastic teacher. I actually really latched onto this course. I think because of his philosophy, even though a lot of it still gets lost in translation with the overdub, I found that I gravitated towards this course a lot more than the other ones that I had tried. As a quick aside, I wanted to talk about the terms anime tattooing versus manga tattooing, because I don't hear a lot of people using the term manga tattooing. I think that has to do with the fact that the term anime seems to have become an all-encompassing term colloquially in Western culture to refer to that whole style of art, regardless of the medium. I think the distinction is still worth making between manga tattoos and anime tattoos, because I think that manga tattoos make it a better fit for the type of art that I'm talking about. So first of all, the style of art that is taught in the 3-round liner course only uses black ink and dilutions of black ink, so there's no color. As soon as there's color, I would think maybe anime tattoo is a better fit because manga is typically printed just in black and white. The other thing that I think manga has in common with tattoos is that it is static. So if an image is meant to convey something like a loud sound or a bright flash or a cold temperature or a particular emotion, it doesn't have the luxury of using movement. It doesn't have the element of time. So comic book artists, I think, over the years have become the experts in finding ways of conveying a sense of movement or intensity. So that's why I think that the style of tattoo that I'm interested in doing has a lot more in common with manga than anime. But there's a lot of other things. I mean, obviously, there are certain characters that only exist in manga that have never been made into an anime, or the other way around. And so it doesn't really matter, and I'm getting into semantics a little bit by even talking about it, but I just wanted to mention that. So getting back to Monlix and the tattoo course, there are a couple things that I wanted to mention that I took from that course that were really helpful. Monlix talks quite candidly about his struggle with being able to do clean lines, and when he was learning to tattoo, that was a significant barrier for him. He felt that he would never be able to make a very clean and precise line, and that would always hold him back. And so he explored some different techniques and ended up stumbling on this idea of constructed lines, which simply means that rather than doing a line in one pass with, say, a thicker needle gauge, he could use a very fine needle by using a zigzag motion back and forth and slowly build up a thicker line, much the way that you would if you were using a pencil to draw a thick line, right? You would draw 2 lines adjacent to each other and then fill it in, or you could just use like a little circular movements or zigzags. And he uses all these techniques. Or you could just draw a bunch of adjacent lines next to each other and slowly thicken the line that way. But what this allows is, unlike using a single needle gauge, you have a lot more control over the width of the line, and you can vary it a lot more. So you can have a taper, which is a lot more aligned with the style of lines that you see in comic books, because typically a comic book goes through a few different stages. After the initial pencil sketch is done, an inker goes over it and inks in all the lines, and one of the tools that they typically use is a brush pen. And so depending on how hard they push and what movement they use, the line will change in weight, which to me results in lines that have a lot more character and fluidity and expression. So being able to take that idea and apply it to tattoos was very liberating. It allows you to take a lot more time with building up the lines and not being so dependent on your actual muscular or mechanical ability to smoothly create a line. Finding a style that leans into your strengths and doesn't depend as much on things that you struggle with is the key to success. So that was a big revelation. The other technique that he talks about is his shading technique. There's nothing really special or unique about how he shades things, but he uses a technique that's often called stipple shading or pepper shading. He creates a series of very small dots by just kind of brushing the needle on using a slow voltage so that the needle goes in and out less times. And so rather than creating a line, when you pull a line, it creates a series of dots as the needle goes in and out, kind of like a sewing machine with the stitches it makes. If you slow down the voltage, you'll have more space between the dots. And so you can find that sweet spot and basically shade in the way you would almost with a colored pencil or something like that. You can build up different gradients and different values. He really emphasizes that he likes the texture that this technique gives because it's not just a purely uniform area, but it has a little bit of texture that mimics the type of halftone printing that you would see in comic books, for example. If a comic book wanted to get a gray value, they could just print a bunch of dots of black, and depending how close and far apart these dots are, it would give the impression of a lighter or darker tone just because of the way that our eyes interpret that area. Having these techniques really opens up this whole world of doing fine line tattoo art. I actually initially took this course almost a year ago, but life has been really busy since then. That's when I got married. For those of you who don't know, I also work as a paramedic. I took on more responsibility. at work becoming an advanced care paramedic. And so only recently have I settled into that role enough where now I can kind of focus more back onto my tattooing journey. And so that's where I'm at right now. Up until taking this course, I had only really considered doing black and gray realism and doing American traditional. With American traditional, I like the fact that I get to be creative and draw my own designs, but I didn't like the fact that I had to constantly be doing that. I didn't like the idea that you have to always be drawing more flash and coming up with more original stuff every time in order to keep working. Whereas with realism, a lot of times you're working from a reference that already exists, an image that someone brings in of their grandma or something like that. I liked the idea of that. And I wanted something that would have a balance between the two, where I could draw my own original designs, but I didn't have to if I didn't have the energy to do that. Comic book art is a nice happy medium there, because a lot of times people will want a specific panel from their favorite manga or whatever, or a specific character, and they'll show you some reference images. Or you could even come up with your own designs, create your own characters, or draw ones that exist in your own style. So it's that nice balance between not depending on constantly having your own original output and also having the ability to, if you want to, be a little bit more expressive. It gets a little bit more complicated nowadays with AI image generation, especially because it tends to be very good at doing anime style images, and I've been playing around with that, but it is just this weird, morally ambiguous territory that I don't think artists know what to do with yet. I'm still navigating how much I'm willing to utilize AI to help me create designs, but for now I've decided that I don't have to figure that all out. Oh, there's a nice little hummingbird outside the window there. It's beautiful. Getting back onto the subject of anime tattooing specifically, as I was saying, it was almost like this perfect hybrid. You get to do some really nice detailed work, not necessarily having to come up with your own references every time. And it also had a lot of things that I liked from the more illustrative styles like traditional, where it has some really solid line work that give it a lot of structure and help it age well over time. There's another major upside that I wanted to mention when it comes to picking anime as a specialty. It has this amazing community behind it. There are all these people who are so passionate about this culture and the stories and the artwork. It's formed a whole network of people. There's great people as well. A lot of these people who I've talked with or met who like anime at various times and for various reasons have felt ostracized or have not really felt like the cool kids, right? And when people like that get together, I think it can create a really accepting, diverse community that is a great thing to be a part of. And the other thing that's really neat about that is that it's easy to find people who might be interested in getting work done by you. At least in theory it is. I haven't tried yet. Let's say I wanted to find a client who wants an American traditional tattoo. There's no real way to meet people who are specifically interested in that style of art, other than maybe a few niche conventions or something like that. Whereas for comic books and anime, there are all of these conventions. And the other thing is, if you were to tattoo someone who's really into American traditional, let's say my wife, she's got this beautiful sleeve of American traditional. Just because she likes American traditional art doesn't mean that her friends do. And of course that's also true when it comes to something like anime, but less so. I think if you were to tattoo someone who's a big fan of anime or comics or manga, there's a good chance that they know a lot of other people who are also in that community. This network of people makes it a lot more potentially viable, I think, as far as seeking out clients. So there's one more gadget that I wanted to talk about as well that helped me out a bit, and that is this e-reader right here. So not a sponsor, again, no one's sponsoring me, that would be nice, but this is called the Boox Palma. Boox is the brand, and the device is called the Palma, Palma. And they're a little bit hard to get in Canada, but there was a reason that I got this. So when I first started out, again, a year ago with this course, and I was getting really excited about the style of art, thinking maybe I want to become a manga tattoo artist, I'm going to feel like a complete imposter if someone reaches out to me and says, hey, can you tattoo this character? And I'm like, yeah, for sure, what is that? And, it's like the most obvious thing. And, I want to be able to relate to clients and have them feel that I have a respect for the things that they love and can do justice to the characters. And I thought I better kind of immerse myself into this world a bit and see if it's something that even appeals to me. A lot of people say that you can read manga quite comfortably on e-readers, but I wanted something that I could carry around with me. So I did a bunch of research and found that the Palma is one of the only pocket-sized or phone-sized e-ink readers, and it runs Android. So if I turn it on here, you can see flip through the pages here with my finger, and I can even turn it sideways and have the pages go like this. And so it's been a really cool device just to keep in my pocket. I actually really like this as far as a case. It's just like a neoprene sleeve, and I keep that in my pocket. I have my phone in my one pocket, I have the e-reader in the other, and it was actually something that was surprisingly a positive influence on my life, because instead of going and opening my phone and just, doom scrolling stupid videos or social media, which I try to avoid doing, I could pull out my e-reader and read a bit. The first one that I read was Goodnight Poon Poon, Oyasumi Poon Poon, which I didn't realize when I first started it how dark and heavy and mature the subject matter in that story is, because he's like a cute little bird. That was the one that I've read the most so far. I've still only read a few books of it, but I really, really love the style of art. I think it's one of my favorite manga visually that I've read so far. And then because I've always been interested in samurai, I was pretty keen to start Vagabond. That was really cool. Of course, people recommended Berserk a lot, so I started that one. One Piece was another one people really recommended. So I've got a whole bunch of them started and on the go. And yeah, this little thing has been just a great tool, especially for seeking out inspiration. In the future, if I do go into this style, then I think it would be a cool idea that if someone books a tattoo and it's a character I've never heard of or a manga I've never read, maybe just to read, at least a few pages or a chapter or whatever to get a sense of what it's like, then have something to bond over during the tattoo. You might have noticed behind me there's a manga right here, No Longer Human by Junji Ito. And I'm really excited about this because I got it for $6 at the thrift store. And it's so random because I live in a fairly small town. I don't know who was reading this and why they donated it, but the list price is $46.99. So I got that for $6. I'm really excited because this is the first physical, actually printed manga that I have. It's quite dense, but I really like Junji Ito. I've read some of the other horror stories that he's done on my e-reader. So I think the next thing for me to dive into would be learning more about anime, and I have been trying to watch a few anime series now and then just to dip my toes in there a bit, but I always struggle with anything that's not like creating something actively. I have a hard time sticking with. So now let's dive into the practice that I've actually been doing in preparation for this video. I created some stencils based on some images from Pinterest. Here are some time lapses of the tattoos that I've done this week. These are basically, other than the ones that I did like a year ago, these are basically some of my first tattoos ever. Obviously, there are things that I want to improve and continue to work on, but as far as them being my first ones, I'm quite happy with it. All right, that's it for this video, guys. Anything you want to add, Luna? I think she said that you should like and subscribe and share this with anyone who would be interested in it, and that you should go create something awesome and you know, put a bit of yourself out into the world there. Take some risks, try something new. That's what I want to encourage you to do. It's what I'm trying to get the nerve up to do. So, oh, you're so cute. Anyway, thanks again for watching, guys. Hope that you like this video, and I will talk to you very soon.